Okay, so continuing on. So give on a base. Viki Temos. We say the Mishnah is not Rabbi Meir. So let's say it's Rabbi Eliezer is the Mishnah. Viki lo boy Rabbi Eliezer chatima. So he doesn't need chatima lishma. That's all deraisa. But midrabanan, we're saying that he needs. Now we're saying here in the Havamin, and the idea here that Rabbi Eliezer needs a chatima midrabanan. And therefore, even though he holds that Mesira is the Iker, we still just need a Chatima Midrabanan. So we have then this the Mishnah from Pu. Vaha shalosh Gittin Psulin de Rabbanan. Velo boy Rabbi Eliezer Chatima lishma. So we don't need a Rabbi Eliezer doesn't need a Chatima at all. So therefore, the fact that in our Mishnah we need a Chatima. So therefore, because we say bifnei nechtamu v'chnei nechtav, you need them both, the chatima and the ikar, they get written. So therefore, but Rabbi Eliezer doesn't need the chatima lishma. Therefore, we can't say this Rabbi Eliezer. So that's just our introduction. Now, from this Mishnah, we see that Rabbi Eliezer doesn't need a chatima at all. So it might even be better to just do it the Mishnah inside here. So Shalosha Gittin Psulin. There's 3 gets that are possible. V'imniset Vlad kosher. Right? So if she gets married after getting the get, then the Vlad is kosher and it's not a mamzer. So therefore, when we say that the get is possible, we don't mean that it's possible deraisa, possible b'di'eved. It's that it's possible lechatchila. But if Shitaka gets married with that get, the Vlad's kosher is not a mamzer. It would be a mamzer if it's not a good get. She's still an HSC. She gets married to someone else. She's just acting the harlot, and the Vlad would be a mamzer. So we see that this get is posel lechatchila and kosher b'di'eved. So what are the 3? What are the 3 gets? Katav b'katav yado ve'en alav edim. So this is the first get. So he wrote it in his own handwriting, and there's no Adim. So there's no Adim. So again, there's 2 things here that we really need to answer. Number 1, why is it possible lechatchila, and why is it kosher b'di'eved? So seemingly, I don't know. Off the bat here, I would say that this should definitely be possible deraisa b'di'eved should be possible because there's no Adim. So have to see what's that about. Yeshalav Adam ve'ein bo zman. So there are Adam on the get, but there's no zman. So the zman is a tekanos rabbanan. You don't need zman, but there's a tekanos rabbanan for zman. Yesh bo zman ve'ein bo ela eid echod. There has zman and has only got 1 aid. So they are 3 gets. So here again, so it has a zman. It's only got 1 aid. Why is 1 aid okay? So then here it's difficult why it's kosher at all. It should 1 and 3 should be possible b'di'eved, and just the middle one doesn't have the zman, has Adam, so it's kosher. Doesn't have zman. You don't need zman. It's a tekanos rabbanan as to why there's zman v'chlal. So this middle case should be easy enough as to why. But the first and third seem a bit strange. Hooray elu shalosha Gittin Psulin ve'imniset Vlad kosher. So we've repeated what it says in the beginning, and it says in the Mishnah itself what's the number in the Reisha and the number in the Sefer. What are they coming to tell us? Rabbi Eliezer Oimer afal pisha ein elav Edom elisha. So even though there's no Edom at all, so Rabbi Eliezer says that I don't need Edom at all. But she gave it to her in front of Adam. It's kosher. And then she can goiva her kasuva. She can get her kasuva from the nechasim mishubadim. Basically means he has land and he sold the land to somebody. She can go get that land back to pay for her kasuva, even if he sold the land. It's like a chrayas on a star. She has a chray. So here, even though there's no Adam on the star, and there's no Adam on the get, she can still collect from the lekuchos, which is what the Baal has sold them. She can go get them back for her kasuva. This is a continuation of Rabbi Eliezer. That the Edom are only signing on the get because of Tikkun Olam. Now that's we've seen this idea before. Rabbi Eliezer doesn't hold that. You need the Chatima. So the Tachnan came up with Psולים v'im nisas like kosher kasabek lavlevi in lavedim ish lavedim in bozman ish vazamin v'leilei lecho devrei elu shlosha Gittin psulim v'nisas like kosher. So Rabbi Eliezer Omer afal pish in lavedim elu shnatu lo benefnei edom kosher v'kov mechaz mishlam shein edom nechuz v'gei mefnei tikkun olam. So that's the whole Mishnah. The whole Mishnah is quoted here, and that's basically it, and that's our sugya. Now, question number 1 is, where do we see from here that Rabbi Eliezer holds that you don't need a chatima on the get at all? We brought a proof that Rabbi Eliezer doesn't need a chatima. What exactly is that proof? Now, Rashi here, v'ha-shlosha Gittin p'sulin, d'ka chashe b'perach batra, so pu, the command pu, v'chad menaihu ein alavedim. So what's Rashi getting at there? Rashi, v'chad menayu, he's going on the first case, is ein alav edim. That's only the first case. The other two have edim, or has at least eid echad. The Gemara is going to learn that this eid echad is with the kasav sofer. So it does have edim. It depends what that's called, edim or not, lechatchila. Now the Rabbanin, kloimar. Now kloimar means it's not the pasha pshat. Psalaihu afilu l'tanakama lo havi midrabanan. The apostle of the Tanakama is only midrabanan, because we see that if it's nisus of vlad kosher, because if it's apostle deraisa, so then the vlad would be a mamzer. So the case that Rashi is going on is v'chad menayu is ein alav edim, doesn't have edim. So since the basically the way to learn in the Mishnah is that we have 3 cases: Gimel, Gittin, or Posa, or Apostle, the Rabbanin. Because of Yavi en alav edim, so there's no edim b'chlal that is kosher b'di'eved. And then it says Rabbi Eliezer afal pisha ein alav edim ela shanta b'fnei edim. So therefore, the first case, just give the with Edom Masira, then it's kosher. So even though it doesn't have Edom, ein alav Edom b'chlal, so therefore he's proven it from the first case. That's what Rabbi Eliezer is saying, because then the first case, you need Edom lechatchila, and Rabbi Eliezer says you don't. So, but the Tanakama is makshir b'di'eved without edim in the first case, but he needs it lechatchila, and Rabbi Eliezer is chilek anan and says even lechatchila you don't need. So v'lo boy Rabbi Eliezer chatima upaleg aled Rabbi Eliezer defil lechatchila tinasei alma pesula de rabbanan nami lisle, even this posel de rabbanan by not having any edim, yeah, that was the lechatchila. You still need the chatima. So if you lechatchila, you can marry. So Palik v'lo, so he's arguing on the Tanakama, and they're saying that even the chatim you don't need. So shlosh pesula in lechatchila, katav b'tav yado, the yadabal. So the yadabal wrote it. Rainbow is man, be'ezez man nechtav. They don't know when the get was written. It's only got one chad, but katav yadas sefer. So Rashi there is explained. It's not only eid echad. It's eid echad and the kasav sefer. And we've said before the kasav sefer is a maklokas if it counts as a signature or not. Of imnisas of lad kosher alma tanakama gufa lo posel ela midrabanan and pali Rabbi Eliezer leishama mina afilu lechatchila makshir. So Rabbi Eliezer is makshirin without any edim, and that's the raya from Rashi on the first case. That it's Ksav Yado ve'en alav edim. So that's that first case is where we're getting the proof that lechatchila you don't need a chatima b'chlal. So on to Tosfos. Shlosha Gittin p'sulin ikit emuki b'perach basra hachmanisan kerebi mer. So we have a bit of an issue here, because if we go down here, we say that it's divrei Rebbe Meir. So we oikman the Mishnah, that this Mishnah is going like Shitas Rebbe Meir. So you have the Tanakama is Rebbe Meir according to a Shita down there in the Gemara, and then Rebbe Eliezer is Cholik on him. So now we should have pasha questions. If this Tanakama is Rebbe Meir, we should have pasha questions. Afukav to Isle Rebbe Meir kol hamishana mimatbeya shetavu chachamim begittin havlad mamzer. So we have seen this a bit before, but basically, if you change the matbeya, if you say something different to what the chachamim said, so therefore the vlad is a mamzer. So you have that. So we have a matbeya of brachos, for example. You say shakol niyeh bidvaro, and if you don't say that bracha exactly as you're supposed to say it, then you're not yotze your bracha. My nafkamina, you would repeat the bracha l'chayre. But here, well, Rebbe Meir is saying that the Chachamim were metaken exactly what to say and how to divorce your wife, and if you don't do it in that exact way, so therefore the Vlad's a mamzer. So here, this Mishnah is saying that the Vlad is not a mamzer. It's a kosher. The Vlad is kosher. So Hai Tana, Rashi here in the Mishnah, Im Nisis of Vlad kosher, Hai Tana lav ka Rebbe Meir, says Rashi. Right? So Rashi is saying, again, it's difficult to say not like Tosfos. This is going to be part of the whole mess here. But Rashi, Hai Tana lav ka Rebbe Meir. Svarale, Da'amar Eiti Chatima Karti. So the Rebbe Meir, the Vlad's a mamzer. So since you have the Eiti Chatima, therefore it's not a good guess, and the Vlad's a mamzer. Okay, so what does he do later on? But Tosfos here is saying that he's going like Rebbe Meir, but here if we're anyone who changes the matbeya, and here you're not doing the get as the Chachamim said. I'm a Rabbeinu Tam, and we got to be clear. This is Rabbeinu Tam talking here. The haka hayinu taima de havlad kosher, the kachai matbeya shelo yifsol havad b'hanak shalosha. Right, so this is a bit strange, but Pashas, what Rabbeinu Tam is saying here is that the matbeya is that with these three, it's okay to change them. So when the Rabbanan were setting their matbeya, you could change these three. Right, so we have an exception for these three cases. Right now, again, Rebbe Meir seems to be pretty harsh dude there, making all these mamzerim because you were mishana from the matbeya. Why are there three? It's all kind of seeming very comfortable here, that there's just these three cases that they just didn't bother making mamzerim. Why are these not mamzerim? So it seems a bit strange that these are specifically the three cases, but the Ran here explains that basically that where you have a mishane and the zamamzer, that's where you metaken the matbeya for Gittin Bilvad. That's where Rebbe Meir holds Shekola Mishana Mepesha to V'chacham Begittin Bilvad Mamzer. Aval b'devarim shelo nitchu begittin ele Gittin v'shar shtar shavim behen. So here you have these three takanas in our Mishnah are not just for get; it's for all shtaros. Kachu adin de b'midi de posel b'shar shtaros kakon haye b'mizrav v'kotav b'mirav de afilu b'shar shtaros posel. So where you metaken in a star, not just a get, but all stars, it looks like a chakra. Hachmer Rebbe Meir begittin shia Vlad mamzer. Valkasa b'kasav yado ve'ein bo ela eid echod or she'ein bo zman came into b'shtar stars kosher. So I don't know exactly what I said there, but it could be the opposite. So where you're only metaken in Gittin, that's where Rebbe Meir is saying. That's where Rebbe Meir says it's the mamzer. But the other things, the star showers of kosher, but Gittin nami kosher. It came into star showers lav stare ma'aliyahu lemakve mishabadi chachmiru begittin uposel aval lo posel legamri. So even since the other stars, they're not the best star, so therefore it's only kosher b'diev and not kosher lechatchila. But these three, with not having the zman, you have an eid echad, they're all good for a they're all good for the other stars, so therefore we were specifically puzzling them with Gittin. So it's only where that they were metakin be Gittin bilvad, only where you make it to Konan be Gittin, but not with other staros. So they are klum b'shamim b'tanim shavacham havlad mamzer. So where you were metakin in other staros, so there's no din of mamzer. Because the other staros are kosher b'diavad, so too is the get. So these three specifically, Rebbe Meir says it doesn't cause a mamzer because they're fixed only in Gittin and not in other staros. Sorry, they're in other staros and not just in Gittin, because where it's kosher in other staros, therefore it's kosher also in Gittin. So that's why these three are different. Now the Efel Gav, the Rebbe Meir, this is Gimel here. The Lo Amru Kol HaMishana Eila B'ma Shetiknu B'Gittin B'Luchud. So only where you fix it in Enoich B'Shar Staros. That's the Ritva we saw in the Ran. So this idea that it's only where so when you fix it, so these three things are only fixed in Gittin, since they're only fixed in Gittin, so therefore these three were fixed in all staros, therefore it's not a mamzer. If it's only fixed in Gittin, then they are mamzer. So therefore the kachaya matbeya shelo yisvol halad b'hanak shalosha, because they were in other staros as well, and therefore the rule of Rebbe Meir doesn't apply here. So that's the easy bit. But we're stuck here. V'evogav de Rebbe Meir salvar v'kasav. What does v'kasav in the pasuk mean? Hayinu v'chatam. So we have the chatima. The chatima is what I need. I need a chatima. So therefore the edei need to be lishma according to Rebbe Meir. Mikom okom kasher havlad b'katav yado v'yein elav edim. So even though v'kasav means I need chatima, Rebbe Meir is still going to be makshir, the Vlad, where the Baal himself wrote it, and it doesn't have Edim. Taisus here is saying that Rebbe Meir is makshir and get without Edim, and we said that Edei Chatima Karti for Rebbe Meir. He needs Edei Chasima. He doesn't have any Edei Chasima, and yet it seems to be okay for Taisus. Now Taisus answers this. And it doesn't. This is very difficult. Since the Baal himself, he wrote it. What the hell's Taisus talking about? Now, Posh Peshat of Taisus so far is he saying is that you have a Baal, and the Baal just writes a get without any Eidim, gives it to the woman, and we're good. It's a good get, and we're good to go. And the whole idea of Eidei Chikiyim is just out the window. We don't need Eidei Chikiyim. We're done. We don't need it. This is a major issue, a major chiddush of Taisus if this is true. So maybe you want to say that by Kiddushin you need Eidei Kiyum, but by Gittin you don't need Eidei Kiyum. That's what Taisus would have to be saying. So in the Nesivus, V'im Kein Kasha. Yeah, the go for Quiddushin ye kosher b'li edim. Right, so we have here this idea of edim when he's moida be'edim hodas baldin kamei edim dami. So that's not going to work for Kiddushin, which we'll see, but it does work for the Gufa Gershon will be kosher with that Edom, because if it was Hoidas Baldin, Mahani B'Momon, the Chav Lachrini. So we have the idea of Chav Lachrini, so we'll do that first. So here Toisus, the next Toisvis, Kaiman Alacha Karebi Eliezer. This is on Daled Amad Aleph. So here we have Od Ragel Rabbeinu Tam. Right, so Mihu Yesh Lechalek de Le'inyan Momon de Mahani Hoidas Baldin Kamea Edim Sagi be'edi chatimas b'makam hoidas baldin. So where you have for Momon Mahani hoidas baldin. The hoidas baldin is where I say I'm chayiv to you. So I can chayiv myself. So if you don't have edim on the get, so therefore it's okay because the loiva says he owes you. So what do I need the edim? Once the loiva says I owe you 100, then what do you need the edim for? So therefore, when you have the case of Hoidas Baldin, is like Mea Edim because he's mechayiv himself. Aval b'kedushin v'gerushin lo mahanya hoides baldin mishum dechayiv la'acherim. So where you are to mechayiv someone else, their hoides baldin doesn't help. Because if I am, I can't mechayiv you in something. Let's say I'm a shoitif with you, and I say our company, or I own one share in Apple, and I say, yeah, Apple's chayiv, $1 billion to every customer. I can't mechayiv other people. The fact that I said it isn't good enough, because I can't mechayiv other people with my hoida. I can only mechayiv myself with my hoida. So therefore, when you're chayiv la'acherim, therefore my hoida is not gonna help. And then Kiddushin, she's also to keruvim. Everyone has to go to Toisvus. You're also on everybody. What do you mean she's also all keruvim? Ubegerushin also la akoyhen. So for the Gittin, then he ausers the woman. He makes her into a gerusha, and therefore she's also to a kohen. So he's mechayiv her. So for Gittin and Kiddushin, so you're chav le'acherim. So for chav le'acherim, so therefore hodas balden doesn't work. So for Mammon, it works. The hayagufa Kiddushin kayim below edim. The kaven de gerushin davar shebiyado. So where you have, so basically you have two things here. Davar okay. So step number one is you have hodas balden. Okay, that works only where you're chayvin yourself. Step two, hodas baldin doesn't work where you're chav le'achrini, where you're going to mechayiv someone else. Hodas baldin doesn't help. Right. So step number three, that even when you're chayiv le'acherim, if you are believed, if it is davar shebiyado, it works as like a migu. That if I could have done it anyway, so I can go in to a beis din and say that I gave a get to my wife. Even though there, I'm chayiv la'acherim and hoidis by myself, since I could have given the get to my wife, it's davar shebiyado, and you're believed. So davar shebiyado, you can mechayiv other people where with a hoidis baldin where it's davar shebiyado. Now, not to get confused, if you go into beis din and say that I gave a get to my wife that doesn't have any edim on it, then yeah, you're believed that you gave her a piece of paper that doesn't work. So you still need edim where we're all. But here, when we put these three things together, hoidis baldin, it doesn't work because of chayav le'achrini, but it does work because of biado. So therefore, by Kiddushin, you cannot nekadosh a woman bal korcha. Therefore, Kiddushin doesn't work with hoidis baldin, but Gittin should work with hoidis baldin because it's biado. So that's where we're looking at here. So to get shekatav b'kasav yado is kosher below edi chatima, the edi mesira. So it says that the netzivus, that the get is the cut of yado, it's kosher without these things. Masha ein came beget the neman b'kasav yado neged echrini mitam biyado. V'mela gam gufa gerushin kaimim. So here we have the ikar kula in the Gittin is that it's biado. Since it's biado to megarish the woman, you can just give her a get whenever you want. So therefore, so seemingly the Nesivus is learning pshuto maybe in the Toisvus that kasav yado is kamea edim domi, and therefore it's biado, and therefore it's a good get. Now our problem here is what happened to the Eidei Kiyum. We don't have, the Baal is not Eidei Kiyum. So we have a maklokas as to why is there Eidei Kiyum. So here in the Kutsois, this is Alpi Shnayim Eidim, Yakum Dovar, Hinu Belo Eidim, Lo Meskayim Dovar Klal. So here this is, so this is for everything. We have Dovar. Yeah, so Dover b'Mamon, we learn the Gili Rayas, Dover Sheba Ever, we learn it from Mamon. So he basically is learning here that we need Eidei Kiyum for everything. But lo Eidin, lo miskayim Dover Klal. So even in Mamon, this is the Chiddush of the Ketzois, even in Mamon, we need Eidei Kiyum. Ela, we have a kula by Mamon, the Gabai Mamon, the Baldin, Ne'emon, Kamea Eidim. So by Mamon, you have the Baldin can machayev himself. V'harei eidav imo. So even by Mammon we need Eidei Kiyam, but the Baldin is Makayim himself, and therefore he's believed to Machayev himself. De Iker Milza Tzarach Edim B'Guf קידושין Hu B'Kadesh Yevda La'alma, so that everyone else knows, the people know about it. So Hoydis Baldin should work everywhere because you're Machayevim yourself. Aval B'Gittin Hu B'Kiddushin De Lo Mahani Hoydis Baldin. So why not? De Le Mahani Kamea Edim Mishum Dechayev La'achrini, because you're Machayeving other people when it comes to Kiddushin and Gittin. There's the three things, Sosrazu, Kiddushin, Gittin, and Chalitza. So, since you're mechayvin to others, again here, but Kiddushin to Asra Kravute, that's the lashon of Tosfos here that everyone argues on. So since basically that you're since you're chayv lacherim, therefore you're not believed. So the man and the woman in the Kiddushin, they come out of the room and they say we both did Kiddushin. They're not believed because they're mechayvin to other people. So that she's also the korov. All these things. Whereas if I come out of the room and I say I owe her $100, so therefore I am believed. So I become the Eidei of the chiyuv of the $100. So the ikar chiddush of the Ktzot is that by Mammon you also need the Eidei Kiyum, but the once the baladavar is maida, so therefore it's good. But once you're chayav lechrini, then it's no good. The Pnei Yehושע, he has a different reason. So Pnei Yehושע in Kiddushin, to halo mahan b'Kiddushin af b'shnei modu, so that the man and the husband both agree. Memele asila misvara. So the basic chiddush of the Pnei Yehושע is that the whole thing's a svara, and that we only learn birur. We don't learn Eidei Kiyum from Dover, but we learn Eidei birur from Dover, and therefore the whole thing of Kiyum is a svara. The kevin de ikar inyan Kiddushin hayinu la asra kule alma kehektish. So since you're ostering her on everybody like hektish, that dileku alei beiser, that we're going to makayim her beiser, so therefore people need to know about it. V'haka kevin de leini lechiv lachrini lo mahani hanach kedushin lefisha eni yodin klal mekadushin. V'ha v'hi becheskes penuya legabe achrina. So if a guy has relations with a woman who's got kedushin, he gets skila. But if she's a cheskes penuya, and without Eidei Kiyum, you're going to change her from heter to skila. It's lo mistaver. It's a svara according to the Pnei Yehושע that the whole Eidei Kiyum I need them from a svara, and it's nothing to do with the Eidei Kiyum, with the chav lachrini and all that business. So back in the Tosfos l'chayro here Shabal Atzmo Katevlan. Ein chatima gedula mizu. The he can't be learning the like the Ktzot, because the Ktzot, if we're going in the sheets of the Netivo, so that the Ktzot is learning that the Eidei Kiyum can't be the Baal himself, because he's chav lachrini. Since you're chav lachrini, so therefore you need Eidei Kiyum outside of this. The he can't be going like the Ktzot. Can he be going like the Pnei Yehושע, where the Eidei Kiyum is just Savara? Yeah, still has this working like the Pnei Yehושע. I still need. How can you change her status? Because it's biado. If it's biado, you don't need to change. I still don't see how it's working with the Eidei Kiyum. Where are the Eidei Kiyum on this? So even after all that, l'chayr, they're still stuck with it doesn't work. Now, if we have a look at the Tosfos here, now v'od derakil Rabbeinu Tam. Don't forget again, we're in Rabbeinu Tam here. This is Rabbeinu Tam. Oman Rabbeinu Tam. V'od derakil Rabbeinu Tam. This is what basically what the Pnei Yehושע says on our Gemara. Remember, tefillah Rabbeinu Rebbe Meir, and again we're making this Mishnah like Rebbe Meir. This is all Rebbe Meir. So Rabbeinu Tam tefillah Rebbe Meir boy edim b'shas nesinas aget. He also needs edim masira. The ein davar shebe'era pochas mishnayim. This is our whole issue of Eidei Kiyum. We need our Eidei Kiyum. So so the pashtus, Even though here we're saying, so this is good now. Mikom kosher vlad b'kasav yadav ein alav edim. We need edim. He needs chatima because the Baal atzmo kasav ein chatima gedula mizu. And we also have the edim mesira. So those edim mesira are the edei kiyum of the get, and they create the call or whatever. Maybe if he's going like the Pnei Yeshua there, but here are the edei kiyum, because here the davar shebe'er v'pokim mishnayim is the edei kiyum. That's what we're learning. Davar. That's what we're learning. We need to. And here he's saying that that Rabbeinu Tam is the you need edim and the shas nesinas a get. So then Rabbeinu Meir, Rebbe Meir also needs 2 for edim mesira. So therefore, for the chatima we're good with the aid with the baldin. And then the rest of the Tosfos again seems to fit perfectly with this. That we're saying, Vel קידושין and Gerushin, Lo Mahani Hodis Baldin, and then because you're Chav Lachrini, Mishum Dechav Lacherim, so therefore I need 2 people for this Chav Lachrini, and you have it for the Edim Mesira. So I also need Edim Mesira, even though I have the Hodis Baldin, I still need the Edim Mesira. So this whole thing goes all very nice and works quite well with this. With this Shabal Atzma Kotov Ein Chatim Gedulim Mizu. So with the so using the other Tosfos, the Chayra, all we're doing here is that the Chatima works. The Kasav, we have the Chatima because the Baal himself writing it, that's good enough for a Chatima. What about the Edei Kiyam? Yeah, we have Edei Mesira, and we're all good. I Dafka can't use the Chodesh Baldin for Gittin and קידושין because I'm Chayiv La'acherim, and therefore the 2 edim of Mesira takes off that issue because Davar Shebe'erva. Now going back to Pu, and we have the Rashi here in the Mishnah. So Rashi L'Cherev, we have a Maklokas Rashi Tosfos. The Rashi holds this whole business that Tosfos is going on about. He doesn't hold of, and that is taka. You see here, Rebbe Meir has the Vlad as Mamzer. Here we're saying that Tosfos is holding that where it's a good get without any edim b'chlal in the Nesivus there. So here, Rashi's holding that the Vlad Zamamzer. Rashi's holding you can't have this Hodis Baldin Kamei Edom doesn't apply b'chlal. All right, he doesn't hold to this shita. Therefore, he's chodakon. Now Rashi says Haitana lav Rebbe Meir. So he's saying this Tana is not Rebbe Meir. Now we have this little aleph here, which we'll get back to. V'laman demoikila b'gemora Rebbe Meir ikelameimor dekatav yav Kamei Edom domi. Now, we just said that Rashi doesn't hold of that. Now, if we have a look at the Bach, Im Nisas, right, the Rebbe Meir have Vlad Mamzer, right, V'laman demukila k'mei edom dami, he takes that all out, right? Nirbe Haggah Hayev Etoises to Perakama, right? Halachakul leferishkach. So here the Bach is saying that somebody put in Toises Shita into Rashi. The Bach is saying, Rashi doesn't hold of this at all. Rashi's holding that the Vlad's and Mamzer according to Rebbe Meir. And Rashi is saying here, Haitan is not Rebbe Meir. V'lav Rebbe Eliezer. It's not Rebbe Eliezer either. Da Amar Edi Mesira Karti. Da Ha Palig Rebbe Eliezer B'Seifa. So Rebbe Eliezer at the end is saying that this has nothing to do with... So since Rebbe Eliezer is not the Tanakama, because he's coming at the end here saying Rebbe Eliezer Oimer. So therefore he's not the Tanakama. So it's not Rebbe Eliezer, Svaralei. Da Amar Edi Mesira Karti. Da Ha Palig Rebbe Eliezer B'Seifa. Eila Kaven to Kativ Yadohu V'Kasav V'Nasan Karina Be. So this is a third Tana. This third Tana has this Shita. It's Kasav Yado. That's the Kasav. V'Nasan Karina Be. It's enough of a Kasav. So we don't need so again we just he's not Rebbe Meir or Rebbe Eliezer. Rafal Gav Deleka Edi Mesira Kosher Midaraisa. Because he's not Rebbe Eliezer. Umihu Rabbanan, they were apostle Dilma Ati Lakshure B'Kasav Soifer. They might mix it up, the Kasav Soifer with the Kasav Yado. So it's like it, so therefore don't get confused. Therefore, don't get Lechatchila. And if you send the that's kosher. Fedavka Kasav Yado Aval Kasav Soifer plus Eid Echad of Lada is a Mamzer. So here, Rashi, if you leave in these words, so therefore he's just agreeing with Tosfos, and if you take them out, then he is arguing on Tosfos. Big difference. Tosfos up here, Shlosha Gittin Pasulim, La'al Parashti. That's what we're looking at now, Gimel Amud Beis. Uma Shapir Shekontras to Hach Mishnah Lo Rebbe Eliezer V'Lo Rebbe Meir Ein Nira. So the fact that here we have a girsa in Rashi that gives a peshat like Rebbe Meir, And Tosfos is saying, which the Bach takes out, and Tosfos is saying, Rashi says it's not like Rebbe Meir, L'chaira, Tosfos' girsa is like the Bach's girsa. So saying nearer that's not like good. To Ike Gemara, to Moiki like Rebbe Meir. Because if you saw in the Gemara itself, we're saying it's like Rebbe Meir. So I can Rashi here say it's not like Rebbe Meir. So Chayr the Pashas is like the Bach, that you take this out and then just kasha on the Rashi. Why is it like Rebbe Meir? The Pnei Yehoshua here on Pu does deal with it. And then if here in the Zion it talks about I have a different there's shadas and teshuvas of Rashi that apparently says like Tosfos. So it gets a whole thing here. What exactly is going on? Anyway, let's go back and just finish up the Tosfos. Now the Ein Bo Ela Eid Echad. This is the third case. Leman Damor Beperch Basra. That's where we're explaining it. Kasav Yado. The Eid Shaninu. So that we have his Kasav Yad Anisinu Shapir. It's good. We understand why it's good because we just explained that Kasav Yado is good enough on its own. So when you add an Eid to it, it's also good. So I said originally that the first case and the third case don't make sense. The second case does make sense. So we've explained the first case. The second case just makes sense because Zman is a Tikkun Rabbanan anyway. So the third case, if it's Kasav Yado of the Baal is good, but Mandamar says Kasav Sofer V'Eid Kasha, then why is it any good? Nichush de Shema Sofer Kasav Lehitlamed, that it's not Lishma. He threw it into the rubbish, and then the woman came and picked it up, and she got an aid to sign on it, Eid Echad. Ve'en kan shnayim, and therefore that the Kasav Sofer isn't a good Kasav Sofer because it was written Shalol Lishma. He wrote to teach. That the Seiferim are worried about this, so they get rid of all their gets. If they are writing a get Shalol Lishma, they'll burn it. Somehow they'll burn it or whatever. But like completely, every single one is burnt, not necessarily. And therefore that's why lechatchila don't use it. Because there are some times that it's not actually good, but mistama it is good. So that's the first case and the third case and where the good, and then the chiddush of bal atzmo kasiv ein chatzima gedula mizu. So the two pshatim basically are, the first pshat is that's taka. You have an aid, so you have a get. The Baal writes a get to his wife. There's no edim, and he gives it to her without edim masira. That is a good get. Because even though he's chav lechrini, it's biado to megarisher, or you say no, this only works because of the edi masira, and Rebbe Meir needs the edi masira. And even if this get is good, that he writes without the edi masira, that's all in Rebbe Meir, and Rebbe Eliezer doesn't hold by it, and we're held by Rebbe Eliezer. So chayra that this get won't be good anyway, because he posted like Rebbe Eliezer.